Hey guys, it's Nemo and welcome to World of Warships. Today's battle, we're taking out the USS Helena, as I say it, or as other people say it, the Helena. Just depends on how you say it, I guess, like me with Jarvis. Anyway, I'm out today with my brother he's in the Algeria. Algeria is not a bad ship either, but the Helena, I would say the Helena is the best silver ship of her tier. Now, a lot of people would argue that the Fiji is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You get anything broadside in the Fiji and you can just wreck stuff with that short fuse AP. But what makes the Helena better than the Fiji is the fact that she has high explosive rounds. Now, you get 15 152mm shots out of the ship. So each salvo fires off 15 rounds. That's if you've got your angles right, your firing angles right. Now, that is one of the massive strengths of the Helena. It's also one of the greatest weaknesses, and the reason it's one of the greatest weaknesses is that a lot of newer players and players unfamiliar with the ship or with the game in general will turn the ship completely broadside to try and fire off all 15 152mm shots. Now, that is death for a Helena, or any of you familiar with the game, an American light cruiser. In fact, any ship in general. Just don't turn broadside, because you might face off, say you're facing a Fiji and he's only got his two front turrets, so he's got 6 shots on you. He's bowing, you're broadside, you're giving off your full salvo of high explosive, and he just has to arm pierce you right underneath the bridge there, the superstructure, and you're finished, absolutely finished. So no broadsides, guys, because that is death. Yes, she's got 15 shots, but that's why we're going to do what we're about to do, and we're going to pull up behind an island and be able to use most of those 15, in certain cases those 15, but others not, and that's fine. I mean, she's an American light cruiser. This is how you play the ship. Now, in saying that, have a look at the enemy Helena that just appeared out on the 2 line. That is not American light cruiser territory. I mean, Worcester you can get away with like gunboating in open water, but not like that. You want to sort of turn around and then run. You don't want to get caught going bow in, because then when you get caught going bow in a cruiser as you're about to open water gunboat, you have to turn to get out of there, or you have to try and reverse and go dark, and if somebody's rushing you, that's very hard to do. Anyway, 152mm guns, high explosive loaded, so we're going to try and get them over the island here. Now, this is very quintessential American gameplay. You come up to the island here, you stay unspotted, you use your allies to spot for you, and off you go, you fire. Now, AP would do a lot of damage to this Miyoko right here. It's American AP, it's quite heavy. Even the 152mm shells are a little bit heavier than some of the other 152mm shells of other nations, but I have the IFHE skill on here, and that's what you want to run in your Helena. You want to be able to run that and watch how much damage gets done. Oh, wait for a full salvo, then watch how much damage gets done. Now, as you noticed, our other friend in the enemy Helena died out on the 1 line there, trying to open water gunboat. Not recommended at all. So that big salvo there, 5,000 damage. So good salvos with the IFHE. The Miyoko is not a very heavily armoured ship at all. She's quite light in her armour. Now, he does go forward here a little bit, so these shots aren't going to hit too well, but they're going to hit an unsaturated part at the back and actually do 3,000 damage, which is pretty good for what I expected. Back to the IFHE, because IFHE works extremely well on 152mm guns. 152mm guns with IFHE will penetrate 32mm of armour, and that is why that Miyoko just got flattened, because I think he's got well less under 30mm, probably only about 25mm of armour. The nose cone of the Helena is 25mm, so you can't actually bounce 15-inch guns, so things like the Richelieu, the Bismarck. You need 27mm of armour to do that, so just be careful going bowing on enemy battleships. Now this Tirpitz does something like what one of my sons would do. You know, young kids, they always try to find the smallest gap to go through when there's oceans of water or massive amounts of space in a lounge room or whatever to go past, and he beaches. Why? Why does he beach? Why does he go to the short side? Because World of Warships, that's why. Anyway, now that we've got this clear, and that Miyoko has suicided, because I wouldn't be rushing. It's great that he wanted to get the cap. I love it when guys want to absolutely play the objective, but you've got to play the objective smart, and going in like that in a cruiser as fragile as a Miyoko, yeah, it was only going to end one way. He could have reversed in and like stayed behind the island there on E7, but no, hindsight's 20/20. It's a great thing, hindsight. Something we can always take away. So if you're watching in that, you can always take it away that maybe I should have reversed into that cap, whoever it is, whether it's the guy who did it or whether it's any one of you guys who are watching. Now, one thing that a lot of people don't like is the fact that these HE slingers, as American ships, Russian ships, okay, German, Japanese, pretty much all of them except for the British ships, people don't like the fact that you can just fire HE and then get damage and do fires, but you know what, it's part of the game and this is how you work it. So the Monarch here is coming in, and you might have noticed there that the Richelieu had been dark for ages. I don't know why he's there, maybe he was AFK, but I am spotted it, but it's not the Monarch or the Bayern over here, it's actually the Richelieu that spots me, and you can see the salvos come in, they're going to hit me in the nose in a sec. And lucky for me, I was wary about a missing battleship and didn't take too much damage. Now the Monarch hasn't got the best armour, and British battleships like to sling fire, but they eat fire, and lots of it. So IFHE on the Monarch does a lot of damage, and as you can see, we're just absolutely melting him down. We are getting help from a couple of other ships, including our little Fusion here, but we get him down and he doesn't survive. Now as you can see, I'm just sitting in just behind the island here. The Bayern can't see me, and neither can the Richelieu. So this is the sort of positions you want to take up in any American cruiser, not just a Helena. And you can see by just having this angle here, being able to sit stationary, I'm actually getting off all of my shots. So all 15. Remember I said no broadsides before? Well, that totally depends on where you are. If you're here behind an island and you can get all 15 shots off but you can't get shot, then you're going to fire all 15 shots off and get some massive broadsides. But you just got to be careful. So keep your eye on the minimap. That's why I have my minimap blown up so high. I'm always watching it. One problem I find with a lot of players is they don't have minimap awareness. They get tunnel vision on what's going on right in front of them, and then they get absolutely blindsided. But I keep looking over there because I know he's there, but not only do I know he's there, I know that he's on the minimap. I can see him on the minimap, and I can see him there. So I want to check the angles to make sure that my position on the minimap is right. So the minimap is vital to being able to stay alive while farming the enemy. And I'm trying to get the Bayern down here because I know he fired before at my Fusion. He's firing HE at the Fusion. I believe he was also firing HE at my Gneisenau and other ships down south. Now I did notice on the minimap that they were angled, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt that he was firing the HE to get an angled ship, and that's perfectly fine. But remember, fellas, battleships, broadside, do it. You will absolutely wreck stuff. Now I'm just jockeying back and forth here to try and get position to make sure that I don't get destroyed or spotted by either the Richelieu or the Bismarck out on the flank. So that's another good thing about your minimap. Always be careful, always be aware. So he pops back up, so the Fusion's either got sight of him there. I'd say the Fusion has line of sight of him there, not actually our ship down the bottom there. And now I know that the Richelieu, you see how the D went diamond? That's why I've popped my hydro, to try and give me some information on where the Richelieu is, but he's just outside it. I think my Fusion here, great little support there with the smoke that keeps me hidden, so that's good. And now we're just waiting for the Richelieu here to make his move. Now he knows where in the cap, because obviously the cap's gone diamond, which means it's contested. So if it's sitting there and it's square, as you can see, A, B and C are up the top there. Once they're sitting square, they're not contested. Once they've got a diamond in them, means they're contested. So you can tell if something's in the cap or not. Now, I probably should have gone up a little bit earlier with my Fusion here. He gets a good salvo off, but unfortunately doesn't kill the Richelieu. And he goes down. Now I have AP loaded now. I've misjudged the angle there. As you can see, all my shots bounced off the angle of the battleship there. It would have been better if I had have put those shots through the superstructure. As you can see, I do there. Now he only does 1,000 damage, but 1,000 damage on that initial salvo, if it had gone through his superstructure, probably would have finished him off. Now, remember I was saying how before you don't have your 25mm of nose armor won't actually allow you to bounce the Richelieu, so you can't go directly bow on. If you go directly bow on to the Richelieu, because he's got the 15-inch guns, he's going to go straight through the bow of your ship. And as you can see, he does a lot of damage there. Now when we're doing a drive-by here like this, patience. You have to be patient. And we get him. So we just waited until, yeah, all our guns were in alignment. But not only that, we waited for a bit of a better angle with a Des Moines and the heavy AP. So you can probably do it in the Baltimore and the Buffalo as well. Maybe even down to the Pensacola. A drive-by like that, you can fire at a little bit of a finer angle, but with other ships you can't. You really need to be patient with drive-bys, because otherwise you're just you'll bounce off and then you'll probably get killed. So patience is the key. In fact, patience is the key to the entire game, guys. So right, so now we're damaged. We're going back to the high explosive. We don't want to get seen broadside. Yes, we might have a pretty good ship advantage here, but I say it all the time, you never ever know. And then my brother, well done to him there, gets a kill on the Colorado. He didn't play too bad actually. He went the other side of the map and helped secure over there in the Algerie. And one thing I do here is I misjudge the speed of the Bismarck. The Bismarck is quite fast, and unfortunately for the Helena, she has those American floaty shells. So just be careful of that. They can float around a bit, and you can. It's like my Worcester video. You can miss a lot of shots. It's just the nature of the American shells. They can hit quite hard, but they do allow you to do things what I'm doing now, and that's sitting behind the island here and just having a good old farm when they hit. So this is one thing that I love about the Helena, is that you take up your position and you just go for it here. So I think I finished on about 95,000 damage. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Mid-tier there. Anyway, let's have a look at how we build the Helena. So obviously we're going to take all premium consumables, Def AA, aircraft. We're going to go with the main armaments mod 1, because you do not want any of your 15 turrets, 15 guns, so 5 turrets getting knocked out. Damage control system mod 1, because the other two really don't cut it on the ship. They're just useless, so damage control is better for putting out the fires. Now I have aiming systems mod 1 for a bit more accuracy. If you are worried about the aircraft, because they're everywhere, do run a AA guns mod 1. And then I run propulsion mod 2, and the reason we run in propulsion mod 2 instead of steering gears is because you saw what happened to that open water Helena. He got absolutely destroyed. So you're going to be playing it very American, behind the islands. Captain's build, now got a 19-point captain on this ship because I absolutely love this ship. Priority target, so we know how many are firing at us. We can also use it to determine if a destroyer has torpedoed us or not. Expert marksman, because the guns do turn pretty slowly. I find expert marksman is quite good on this ship. Then we're going to go with Superintendent because we want extra hydro, we want extra aircraft, and we want extra defensive AA, especially in the current meta. Now, Concealment Expert, to get the concealment down as much as you can. IFHE would be my next skill. You can swap them around and take IFHE first. The 152mm guns with the IFHE is really, really good. Then we're going to go to DEMS Expert to counter, offset the IFHE, and I like Jack of all trades to try and get all my consumables back up a little bit quicker. I mean, it might only be something like 7 seconds, but 7 seconds is a lot, especially in a heavy AA meta such as it is. Anyway guys, this is one of my favourite ships. I'd probably say that with all the reviews I've done lately. It's such a good ship. And it's in a good tier. Tier 7 is still a relatively good tier if you can escape the fact that you might end up in tier 8 with double CVs at the moment. But even with the double CVs, solid ship. Really solid. Really enjoyable ship. Recommend it. If you can get past the Dallas, then you're up. You're on the way for a good line, because this is a great ship and so is the Worcester. So that's my Helena video. Hope you get something out of it. It's a great ship. Great ship. Anyway guys, thanks for joining me, and stay safe out there.